business channel. So if you do not follow me over there and you're interested in business, you should go. So the following is way smaller than this one. And it's Shyla underscore LAMASSEY. That's on YouTube. And on that channel, I talk about nothing but business advice. Nothing. I got some marketing shorts up because in my real life, I was a marketing teacher. I'm not gonna say former because I can always go back. But in my real life, this is my real life too. But I guess it is my former. But I missed the classroom. But today we are talking about unaccompanied minors. So this is Glisten in July. We talk all things travel, all things hospitality as it relates to food and beverage, cruises, airlines, well, which is transportation, hotels, recreation, everything hospitality, everything. We don't leave anything off the table. Every experience we have over here, we talk about it. Every video you see on this channel was personally taken by me. Yes, I love to travel. Yes, I travel a lot. I've been to all continents now, except for Australia and Antarctica. I'm doing good. But that's because that's a value of mine. Some people value purses, shoes, cars, houses. I don't value any of that. I value travel. I like getting on the plane. I like meeting new people. I like being informed on my trips. But today we're talking about unaccompanied minors. So I want you to make sure you subscribe to this channel. I want to make sure that you comment underneath this post. I want to make sure that you like this live. So what are we talking about? Unaccompanied minors. What is an unaccompanied minor? Unaccompanied minor is exactly what I said. It is a minor who is unaccompanied on a plane. That means there is no adult on the plane with the minor. The minor is traveling by themselves. There are very few airline carriers that allow unaccompanied minors. Delta, American, United, and I think Southwest, but don't hold me to that because I'm not a big Southwest fan. That's what an unaccompanied minor is. Okay, so we have unaccompanied minor out the way. Is there a fee? Yes. Hello, Power Star. There is a fee. Hello, Flame. There's a fee for an unaccompanied minor to travel. I just was on United Airlines because my kids were talking about they want to go to California, and it was $150 per person for my kids to be an unaccompanied minor on United. Why did I go with United? Because that was the cheapest ticket out to California, and I did play with the calendar. When I was looking for their tickets, I looked for the cheapest ticket that I could get my kids to get them out to California this summer. So an unaccompanied minor is allowed. I was just in California too. I went out there for the day. I had to go for business. And I did do first class coming back, but I only did first class coming back because I needed to sleep because I was on a red-eye flight. So, yeah, it was 330. Well, the flight was almost full. So because the flight load was almost full, I already overpaid for the ticket because I booked it last minute. And I knew I needed to go to sleep because I had to turn around and work in my business as soon as I landed. So that's why I did first class. And you need to think about those. This is totally off the topic of unaccompanied minor, but you need to think about those decisions. If you know you have to turn around and go to work the next day, you may want to upgrade to first class so you get a wider seat. You can lay down, you can go to sleep. I did first class. I used almost all my points on United, and I upgraded to first class on a flight that I took last summer to get me to Taiwan. Why? Because I was super tired. I left my kids in coach and I went to sleep. I slept for most of the flight because I had been working and working and working and I was tired. So unaccompanied minor, make sure you subscribe to this channel. Make sure you like, you comment. Unaccompanied minor is a child who travels by themselves. They travel and you pay a fee. You are giving your child over to the airline company, if you want to say that, and they are legally responsible for your child while they are getting to and from their destination. That's why they say it has to be a nonstop flight now. That's one of the stipulations for your kid to travel unaccompanied. Your kid has to be on a nonstop flight. Now, when I was coming up, I was an unaccompanied minor many times to California, and the flight would stop in a major city. I could be an unaccompanied minor then, but the airline company was responsible for me at each leg. So if the flight got delayed or it was held back, guess what? I was the responsibility of the airline company. Now they tell you children can only be on nonstop flights. So if it's not a nonstop flight, your kid cannot be an unaccompanied minor, right? And because of the liability is increasing, they're going to start there. I mean, they'll probably just offer. I project this as being a service that you have to pay more for. I do not ever see unaccompanied minor going away. I can honestly say that. If anything, you're going to pay more because it's that kid that maybe mom and dad are divorced and dad lives in this state, mom lives in that state. And so, maybe the parents don't want to see each other. They don't want to be bothered and they just going to send a kid, right? And dad is responsible for paying for the ticket or mom is, however way it go, the opposite parent is responsible for paying when that kid comes back, right? But I don't see unaccompanied minor ever leaving from an airline. I do see airlines who maybe are low cost carriers not doing unaccompanied minors. I can see that in the future, but I do not see unaccompanied minor going away. It is an extra fee. Like I just said, I shop the lowest tickets. I don't discriminate against any of the carriers. If American is the cheapest, I fly American. If United has a one way, okay, no problem, Flame. If United has a one way ticket and they're the cheapest, or a nonstop and they're the cheapest, then I fly United. If Delta is cheaper, but from where I'm at, Delta always stops in Atlanta. They always stop in Detroit. So I'm never pretty much flying Delta unless I know I already got a connecting there, and then I probably will have another connecting. I've seen very few nonstop flights from where I am on Delta. So Delta is like, oh, I'm going to Atlanta, let me take a flight. I'm never going to take a flight to Detroit because Detroit is literally a 2 hour and 30-minute drive. So have I taken a flight to Detroit when I was young and I was an unaccompanied minor? Yes, I took a flight to Detroit because my dad paid for it. So there we are. I was an unaccompanied minor, but my dad, for some reason, he was tired from work or he was unable to drive from Detroit to where I am to pick me up. So as a result, I had to get on a plane to go to my father to see him. Okay, no problem, Fane. Um, G.I. Hi. Oh, okay. Hi, Veronica. How are you? So, unaccompanied minor, um, they do get perks. They get priority. The flight attendants look after them. They literally look after, because that's their job. They got to look after these little kids that's flying, basically, premium to be on this plane. And so that's their responsibility, is to care, to make sure that the airline gets this child from this person to that person. My aunt was just telling me that in California, the adult can no longer walk to the gate with the minor. They have to hand the child off to, the representative with the airline company. I was like, for real? Like, they don't do that but I haven't been an unaccompanied minor in decades. So this experience that I'm about to have is going to be brand new for me. And I did not charge my phone fully because I just got off an hour live and I'm at 8%. So I will be talking until this phone goes completely dead. Would I put my child on an unaccompanied minor flight? Yes. And the reason why I would put my child on it is because I had the experience. I would put my child on an unaccompanied minor flight without any hesitation. None. I would pay for the service, yes. Would I prefer to pay for the service? No, but I would pay for the service. I am going to pay for the service because they need that experience. A child needs the experience of being independent. They need to be able to navigate life in your absence. And what I'm seeing now is that even with my own children, I can start with me, and I'm seeing with the children I work with, they have no independent thinking. They don't even know how to answer a question. They can't process rapidly because they've never been in a situation where they had to make a decision, a split second decision that was important for another decision. And being able to navigate an airport, if that's a skill you want your child to have, They have to do it without you. Or I'm doing fine, Veronica. How are you? I'm sorry, I didn't even see that. And Alani Gonzalez, how are you? Hi. I'm so sorry. I'm just talking and I'm not even looking. But children have to be able to navigate the airport. They need to know what their flight number is. They need to have the skill of knowing what time a flight leaves, what gate their flight is leaving from. They need to be able to read the map to know where they're going. They need to know if somebody is taking them somewhere that they shouldn't be going in because they looked at the map and the map said that ain't where we should go. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. We talk about all things travel. So if you like to travel, this is your channel. Me and my children have been to Disneyland Shanghai. We went last year. They just told me, this is so off topic, but they just told me we were somewhere. They were like, we didn't go to Disneyland. We didn't go to Disney last year. And I was like, yes, we did go to Disney. We went to Disneyland Shanghai. They was like, oh yeah, I forgot. How you forget that you was at Disneyland Shanghai and you 11 years old? I'm confused on how you forget that you was on a plane and you went to Disney in another country. I don't even understand because I didn't even get to travel out of the country. My traveling was to California and to North Carolina and to Detroit and to down south in a car. That was my traveling as a kid. So thank you for subscribing, Veronica. So please make sure you subscribe, you comment. But unaccompanied minor, yes, that is for if you are unable to travel with your child. I was recently on a flight to California. I think Flame is the one who said they just came back from California. Yeah, Flame was the one. Flame the jester. Um, and I was on a flight. It was a nonstop flight going to California, and it was two kids next to me. And I was like, oh, this is weird because, like I said, I bought my ticket at the last minute, and that was literally the only seat on the plane. And the parents were sitting behind them, literally like this is them, and the parents is right here, right? I was like, you could have booked all your seats together where you wouldn't have had to sit by yourself. And they were like, no, they said only one adult could sit with one kid. And I'm like, no. You want to know how I know that? Because I have two children. And because I have two minor children, guess who sits by their two minor children every flight they're on? I do. And if I'm on a flight and we're not together because there are no seats or someone paid for their seat, guess who's asking permission? Is it okay if I sit here and you sit here so I can be with my children? Me. Guess who's asking the gate agent? Me. To change whoever seat they need to change around, paid or unpaid. I don't really care. Give them their money back. But what I do know is that it's a rule that children cannot fly unaccompanied, which is the reason for this lie. Children can't fly unaccompanied. And I think the cutoff age is 15, and I think they're lowering it to 12. You got to check on that. Do not hold me to that. But you need to check with your individual carrier. A kid cannot fly unaccompanied, period. They have to be by an adult. You cannot put a kid next to a stranger. They don't even sound right. You wouldn't even let your own kid get in a car with a stranger, let alone sit with a stranger for 3 hours, 2 hours, 45 minutes, and they don't know them. A kid cannot be an unaccompanied minor. And as a result, them kids should not have been sitting next to me. Those parents should have been in one whole row with their children. And then they were like, well, these are the seats they gave us. Okay, you ask the gate agent. All they can say is no. And then you ask for a supervisor because these are minors. They are unaccompanied minors. I am a stranger to them. I am on this flight with them for 4 hours and 18 minutes to California. They do not know me. There's no reason why I should be sitting next to them. And you should have been sitting over here on the other side if it's a family. And it didn't. The mother and her children should have been sitting next to each other. This is me. This is not the airline, but this is me. And this was a United flight I was on. The mother and her two children, who were minors, should have been sitting. The mother should have been in my seat, and the two minors should have been over there, and the father should have been over there. I don't care what seats they picked. And then when I went to change my seat, she said, "Are you a family of four?" No, I'm not a family of four. And if you knew it was a family of four, why you didn't move the seat? Because you trying to make extra money. Girl, you don't get ahead like that. You get ahead by being nice. You get ahead by doing the right thing by people, especially when they're traveling with kids. Because why? They gonna go on vacation every year. That family told me they was going to Hawaii. And they was renting a house on the beach because I asked all those questions. I want to know where you going, what you doing, where your mama and daddy at, because I don't even feel comfortable sitting by you because I don't even know you and you don't know me. And if this family is going on a family vacation to Hawaii and these are minor children, guess what? They're going to go on another vacation and you want them to have a memorable experience. They let us all sit together on the plane. They let us all sit together. Thank you, Alani. They let us all sit together on a plane. And because you let us all sit together on a plane, I like your customer service. You took into account that me and my children were important, that us being together on this plane was an experience that we all needed to have together. Unaccompanied minors cannot be unaccompanied. And if they are unaccompanied, you have to pay for that fee for them to fly by themselves. If a minor, this is some advice you need to take with you wherever you go. If your child is traveling with you, they should not be sitting next to an adult that you do not know. You should be right next to your child, period. In America, most planes are 3 and 3. So 3 on the left, 3 on the right, or 1 and 2. 1 on the left, 1 on the right, period. Your child should not be sitting next to you. If they are not sitting next to you, like there should not be a stranger, then you on one side of the stranger and you on your child. No. And you ask the gate agent. And if the gate agent doesn't respond to what you want to hear in a way that you feel is conducive for your family, then you ask for the supervisor. You have that right to ask for the supervisor. It's okay. You also had a right to say, I'm not getting on the plane because y'all can't make an accommodation for me. Can you put me on another flight? Because this is a minor. I don't feel comfortable with my kid sitting next to someone that I don't know. I don't know them. I don't want my child. You have that right to say that. And they know it's in their rules. Where it's at, I don't know, but it is a rule that a minor cannot sit next to an adult they do not know because they are an accompanied minor. An unaccompanied minor is traveling without an adult and are the responsibility of the airline company. And most airline companies say they have to be on a non-stop flight. I cannot say that enough. I cannot say it enough. You ask for what you want. The least that they can say is no. Somebody with common sense is either going to say yes or no. That's the least that they can say is no. I was on a flight to Vietnam and I looked at the flight load. Somebody asked me on the other clip, how you look at the flight load? Because I bought my ticket at the last minute and I was able to see every seat that was booked up. I purposely positioned my seat in a place that appeared to be, it was nobody sitting in any of them seats. And then when it was time to board the plane, I went back up to the gate agent. And guess what I did? I said, are there any rows on this plane that no one is sitting in? Could you sit me there? And guess what they said? Let me check. And they looked on there, and guess what they did? They changed my row to I had a whole row to myself going from Detroit to Korea, South Korea. It was South Korea. I don't know how to say the Quiche. I don't know how to say the city, but because I asked, and the lady heard me ask, and who had on the mask, guess what she turned around and did? She was like, oh, can you do the same thing for me? He's like, I don't have no more rows. You're going to have to stay where you are. She was mad. But I knew that. So that's free information. All I can say is no, like he told the other lady. But I was the first person to ask. Don't be afraid to ask for what you want. The least they can say is no. It hasn't even ruined your expectation because your expectation was you was already going to sit in the seat that you picked out to begin with. Whoever was by you, whoever wasn't by you. Right? So unaccompanied minor, make sure you subscribe, you comment, you like this video. Thank you for the thumbs up. I really appreciate it, whoever you are. But we talk about all things hospitality. Every video you will see on this channel was filmed by me. I am a traveler. I love to travel. When I say I love to travel, this is something I could do with my eyes closed. I love to travel. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. If you don't believe in Jesus Christ, don't subscribe to this channel. Because I may say Jesus. I may say you need to get your life saved, which I just said right now. And you ain't going to like that. And that don't have nothing to do with me. But I'm just telling you right now. But if you are unaccompanied, if you send a child on a nonstop flight as an unaccompanied minor, they are the responsibility of the state. Most carriers that do that is United, Delta, American, and I think Southwest. But don't hold me to that because I don't fly Southwest that frequently. Even when they had the free bags, I wasn't really a big Southwest fan because they became kind of like, oh, we a low cost carrier, and then their prices kept increasing, 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 and it wasn't low cost anymore. And so I think it's not a thing. That's why I stopped really flying them. Have I flown them in the last 3 years? Yes, maybe once. But I'm not like loyal to one airline company. I fly all carriers. I'm not one of those people like, oh, I only do Delta. But Delta, on my trip at the beginning of May, excellent they had excellent customer service. That's what I was talking about. I was an unaccompanied minor too when I was a little kid. Unaccompanied minor. So, I've been left at the airport. I remember the first time I could no longer be an unaccompanied minor. And my aunt left me at the airport by myself for 3 hours. And I just told, this is a real story. My aunt left me at the airport. She left my son at the airport. I told my kids, I said, oh, she gonna leave y'all too. I was like, that's just how she rolled. I'm like, if she left me and your brother, she gonna leave y'all too. So join the club. So what you gonna do? So hopefully she won't leave them because they'll be unaccompanied minors, and the airline would definitely be calling her, talking about some. Yes, we have 2 children you were supposed to pick up. But the fee for United was $150. It has to be a nonstop flight. You cannot fly unaccompanied minor on a connecting flight with United. I do know that. So, and I would say that's probably industry standard now, because if the flight gets delayed or canceled to your connecting location, now your kid is stuck in a city that they were never intended to end at anyway. Like I said, my phone is going to die. When it hits 1%, I'm going to end this live so this can upload. I'm letting you know that now so you're not surprised or anything. I'm at 2% right now. But unaccompanied minor, if you cannot travel with your child, your child will go by themselves as an unaccompanied minor. And it's okay. They got to learn how to read and meet new people and not be afraid to speak up for themselves, and everything else in between. Get taken care of. They take care of the unaccompanied minors in my experience. And I think Constantine experience, they take care of the unaccompanied minors very well. Very well. They get all the free snacks. All the free snacks. Even the carriers. See, I think Spirit and Frontier used to do unaccompanied minors too. Actually, they did. They ain't no thing. But Spirit is gone. Frontier is still around. And Frontier got rid of it. But even the unaccompanied minors used to get free snacks on Frontier. Frontier don't get no free snacks. So being an unaccompanied minor, you get taken care of very well. They'll put your child or children, if they're traveling together, as two in a row all by themselves. So ain't no stranger sitting with them. But I am at 1% now. So I want to thank you for tuning in tonight. I want to make sure you subscribe to my channel. Every video you see on my channel, not